Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we are doing another Shop My Stash. I love these types of videos. It's a great way to help me to utilize the things that I already have. Now I'm quite certain that I am not alone and sometimes feeling this back and forth pull between wanting to try out the new products because I do love new makeup. But there's also a practical side of me that recognizes, number one, financially speaking, that's probably not the smartest thing to do. And number two, accumulating too much makeup is certainly not a way to be happy, and sometimes we can end up just drowning in the things that we have and not even being able to enjoy the things that we already love. So that's really the goal of these Shop My Stashes in general. I know I'm not the only one that does these, but it's basically going through my collection, picking out things that maybe I haven't used for a while that have been neglected, and focusing on using and enjoying those products over the course of that 2-month period. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys the things I have picked out. Again, I'm not quite in a situation where I'm ready to show you guys the selection process. We will get there one day, but hopefully today you guys will bear with me. I'm just going to show you guys the things that I have picked out and what products I'm excited to put to good use as we step into fall. So hopefully this sounds interesting to you guys. If you are new here, welcome. I hope that you will stick around, hit the subscribe button, hit that little notification bell just so that you know every time I upload a new video. And with that said, let's take a look at the things I picked out for September and October. Alright you guys, so here is my bin that I'm going to be using. I actually used to use the bigger bin that this smaller bin is inside of, but that was way too many products. In fact, this is actually already looking like maybe too many, but we're just going to go with it. So let's start off with some Complexion products and then we'll kind of just move our way through the box. So one thing that I pulled in here, this is from Welleda. This is the Welleda Skin Food. I saw Katie Jane Hughes using this quite a bit on her Instagram. I picked this up, I want to say like 3 or 4 months ago, and the first time I tried it, it was kind of a disaster because this stuff is so rich. I mean, it's legitimately like greasy and I think I just used too much, but I've been kind of rediscovering a way to use this. I'll try and include that in a tutorial coming up. Let me know if you guys are interested in seeing what this stuff can do, because I have a very specific way that I use this on my skin that I've been enjoying using this on my skin underneath foundation. Now I know I've said this a lot, but for those of you that are new, I am not much of a primer person. I don't always reach for a primer on a daily basis, but on occasion I do like to reach for one, and this is one that I really do love. This is the Touch in Sol No Problem Primer. Love this primer. I actually used this for a good month and I used it pretty consistently. I'm really surprised that I have this much product left. I've had this for several months now and I really need to try and make a bigger dent in this. Another product I pulled in that is sort of like a primer is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I got this in the last year's fall Sephora sale. Love this stuff. It's a very interesting kind of subtle product. I like using this both under my foundation and also over my foundation when I want not as intense of a highlight, but I want my skin just to look really nice and radiant in specific areas. That's what I most like to use this for. I know some people do mix it in with their foundations, but I haven't actually tried that yet. So moving into foundation, I picked out two. This one right here is the Sephora 10-Hour Wear Perfection Foundation. This one is in the color Linen. It's a little bit light for me right now, but my guess is in about 3 weeks, my tan will be pretty much completely gone, and this will match me a lot better then. Also, I pulled in the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation. I've been talking a lot about this foundation, so I won't say much about it other than I now have 3 bottles of this, and I do want to continue to try and use this one up because I've had this one for quite a while now. For concealers, I grabbed these two right here. First off, the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. This is definitely in my top 2 or 3 favorite concealers of all time. I absolutely love this stuff. It's just a really good, easy to work with concealer. It works, this shade, specifically Vanilla, seems to work for me all year long. It doesn't matter how tan I get, it seems to work fine for me, or how fair I am in the winter. It just blends in seamlessly to the rest of my complexion products or my foundation. I love this so very much. Then I also grabbed the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation. I picked this up also on clearance at my Walmart. A lot of people have spoken very highly of this. I've been using it for a couple of weeks on and off and I really do like it. For my bronzers, I first off grabbed the Milk Makeup Bronzer Stick in the color Baked. I finally picked this thing up. This is something that was on my wish list for a very long time before I finally grabbed it. Very happy with this thing. I will say this though, I love that there's a ton of product in here. I mean, this thing, it feels pretty weighty. You can tell there's a lot of product in here. It's going to last me a really long time. But if I want to apply this directly onto my skin, if I want to draw it onto my skin, I almost think it's a little too big. It's hard to be precise. You definitely can use a brush, and sometimes I do like to do that. But I will say, if you are interested in this, they now have a mini, I believe. I'm not sure if the mini is sold at Sephora. It is sold on Milk Makeup's website, but it's quite a bit cheaper. I want to say it's about $14 or $15, and I actually think the smaller size might even be more convenient. And not only that, but I'll never use this thing up. I mean, there's so much product in here, but I really am loving this. Super easy to blend, lasts all day long. And then to go along with that is this right here. This is the Nudestix Nudies Matte bronzer. It's actually more of like a blush for me. This one's in the color Sunkissed. This stuff, I've loved this for a long time. I think I've featured this in a favorites video or two. I've used it quite a bit on and off, but honestly, these two paired together make the most beautiful combination of like a healthy, bronzy, sun-kissed cheek. I absolutely love it. Also, as kind of a bronzer and face palette, I wanted to pull in the Smashbox Cali Contour Palette. I feel like I haven't used this as much as I thought I would, and I just think I need to force myself to use it a little more. I really, really like it, but for some reason I just didn't fall in love with this one in the same way that I fell in love with the Cover FX palette. But I'm hoping that pulling it into my stash will give me a better chance to kind of get to know this thing and hopefully really fall in love with it, because I do think it's a great product. So kind of sticking with face products, why don't we move into another highlighter. I wanted to also pull this in. This is the Samantha March and Ofra highlighter. I know this looks ridiculous. I don't know why I did that face. I think I was trying to make myself feel better about the fact that this thing shattered. If you didn't hear my story about that, I have it in one of my recent videos. I talked about how the day that I got this, before I'd even used it, I shattered the product inside, so I had to repress it. But the actual highlighter in here is so stunning. I love the combination of kind of pink and gold, and I'm excited to see how this looks on my skin as it gets a little bit more fair, because I think this is, I still think it's usable for me when my skin's a little bit more tan, but it's very extra intense and almost icy looking. I think this will look a little bit even better on me when I'm a little bit more fair. I also pulled this in here, but I've got to be honest, this is something that usually sits on top of my desk and I reach for regardless of whether it's in my Shop My Stash or not. This is just Flexitarian by ColourPop. It's looking a little bit worse for wear, but it still works great for me, and I feel like this thing is just never going to end. I use it all the time, and it's like this type of a spongy product. It just never runs out. I don't know. I'm positive this is going to dry out before it runs out, but I love this as an inner corner highlight. I use it most often as an inner corner highlight, but I also love doing a more kind of detailed, tiny spotlight highlight in certain areas of my face, like just right on the very top of my cheekbones or the very tippy top of my Cupid's bow. I love Flexitarian by ColourPop. I pulled in this powder this month. I like to have a powder just to set the center of my forehead to kind of help my foundation or concealer from settling into my forehead lines or my smile lines. So I'll usually use just a light amount of powder to set very strategic areas of my face, but I'm very light-handed with my powder. This, I should tell you what it is. It's the Wet n Wild. It says a bronzer, but this is just a powder. It's in the color, oh, I forgot what this was called. Everyone else hate that about Wet n Wild, that they don't put the names of their products on the actual packaging. It's on the removable sticker. I'll find out what it is and list it right here, but it's basically just a powder product that has a really subtle, kind of satiny, almost glow to it, but I think it's a really beautiful powder. And I love using this on my brow bone too. So now for a couple of blush products that I have. First off is this right here. This is from Pretty Vulgar. I got this in a BoxyCharm last year. This is a beautiful blush. This is the color Hush Blush. I love this formula. This color reminds me a lot of Melba by MAC. It's just, oh, it's so pretty. Such a pretty, just everyday, kind of goes with anything type of shade. But I love that it has a little bit more of a deeper rosy tone to it. I think it'll be perfect for fall. And for something a little bit more warm tone, this is one of my all-time favorites. This is Let's Go Nude by Bare Minerals. I love this blush. I find myself reaching for this one often, even when it's not in my stash, because it's probably one of my all-time favorite blushes. It just goes with anything. Let me swatch it for you guys. Doesn't swatch very well, but I often find that blushes that don't swatch well look the best on the skin. And then I got this thing. This is brand new from ColourPop. I actually just got this in the mail today. This is Lunar Has It, which is, I believe, the Kathleen Lights blush collaboration that she did recently. This is a really nice, it almost looks like a bronzer, but it has quite a bit of orange in it, like a peachy kind of, I don't know, like orange creamsicle kind of orange. That is so pretty. I'm really excited to use this. I'm actually wearing this on my cheeks today along with the Milk Makeup bronzer. And I think I actually had a little bit of that Nudestix product on my cheeks as well, but I put a little bit of this on top and it is a beautiful Beautiful blush. So let's move into eyeshadow palettes. First off is this. I ended up getting the Sweet Talk palette. I actually placed an order for a couple of eyeshadow palettes that they had a sale on some of their eyeshadow palettes recently, and I got a couple as gifts for some people. But because I was placing an order with ColourPop and this was on sale, it was like 20% off or 25% off, so I got a really good deal on this. And I used it today. It's very pretty. I think these glitters, I'm not sure how much use I will get out of these. These are, I don't know, these are very glittery glitter toppers. And I almost wish this one specifically was not quite so glittery. I just don't see myself using something this glittery that often. This one's a little bit better. It's a little bit more of like a refined glitter, but this very chunky glitter, it's just not the type of product that I wear very often. It makes me feel old. Like I feel like I'm too old to wear that type of a glitter on my eyelids. But other than this very chunky pressed glitter, everything else in here is really, really pretty. Also pulled in the Identity 2 palette because again, I'm still kind of getting to know this one. I really like this palette even more when it's a companion with other palettes. So either another neutral palette, or I actually really love this as a companion with this Jackie Aina palette, or something that just has some lighter shades in it. I think this makes a great pairing with, because some of these shades are a little too dark for me to use all over my lid, but I love using them in kind of the outer third of my lid and then popping something else complementary and a little bit more brightening on the inner third of my lid. That's how I prefer to use this palette, but the formula of these is fantastic. And that brings me to this palette, the Jackie Aina palette. You guys, I love this palette so much. I just got done filming my 7 looks video. I think that video should go up immediately after this one. I think this one I'm going to be posting either on Sunday or Monday, and this 7 looks video will go up sometime next week. But you guys, this is such a great palette. I just talked about this in my favorites video, so I don't want to be too repetitive and annoying, but I'm telling you guys, I love this. It's probably my favorite Anastasia palette color story that I've seen so far. It just gives you the perfect mix of neutrals and wearable, interesting colors. I love this thing. It's been so much fun to create looks with this. It's just such an inspiring color story. But one palette I wanted to pull in specifically for fall is this one right here. This is one of my favorite fall palettes because this color story to me just screams fall. I love these kind of yellowy mustard tones. These greens are so unique to anything else that I have in my collection, and I love the Makeup Revolution matte formula. Their shimmers are a little bit trickier to work with. This bronze is actually really beautiful. This green, it's almost like a glitter topper, but it's really refined glitter. You have to really go in with a few layers of this. The only shade in here that I really dislike is this corner shade. I think it's something I probably will never reach for. It's one of those kind of pink iridescent colors that really, when you look at it, doesn't really even go with this color story, and it's not that great of a formula either. But other than that, I love these sort of browns and mauves and greens. I think it's such a great color story for fall. And I'm not sure if I mentioned, this is the Makeup Revolution Reloaded Division palette. So 2 mascaras that I pulled in. These are likely not the only mascaras that I'll be using, especially because I do have a couple more 7 looks videos coming up in the next month or two, but I want to try and focus on these 2 specifically. This collab one, I love this mascara. The more I use it, the more I love it. It gives you really good separation, but also gives you volume and length. I just really love how this looks on my lashes. And I'm also trying to use up the Lash Paradise. This thing is kind of on its last leg. It's starting to feel and look a little bit dry. Sometimes this works really well for me, and sometimes it's very clumpy in it, and that's not necessarily because of its age. Like one time it'll work perfectly and the next time it'll be clumpy, but then the next time I use it, it'll work perfectly and not give me any clumps at all. Just kind of a finicky mascara, but when it works, it really is beautiful on the lashes. I forgot to mention this for eyeshadow. I pulled this thing in. This is just one of the Kathleen Lights ColourPop pigments. This one is in the color The Maiden. This is just basically a white. I just like this because I think it's something that's very multi-purpose. I mean, you could use this just on your inner corner. You can use it as like a topper type of shade. I love the glitter in this because it's so refined and so multi-dimensional. I have 4 of these, and I do like to try and pull one in pretty much every time I do one of these stash videos just to keep myself using them because I do think they're really beautiful. Also forgot to mention this eyeshadow primer. I'm trying to use up this Wet n Wild eyeshadow primer. Probably one of my favorite eyeshadow primers that I've really ever tried. It's drugstore priced. It works really, really well. I want to try another drugstore one, maybe the Milani or the CoverGirl one after this one runs out, but I feel like this thing's never going to run out because I keep thinking that I'm going to use it up, and it just seems to go and go and go forever. Before I move into lips, I have a couple more eye products here. This is just an eyeliner. This is the brown eyeliner from LA Girl. This is their Ultimate Eye Intense Stay Auto Liner. I love this liner. Perfect color, perfect consistency for me, and super, super affordable. I basically alternate using this and my Wet n Wild liner almost on a daily basis. It's pretty much, whether it's in my Shop My Stash or not, I use this thing all the time. But for my eyebrows, I pulled these two things in. I want to continue to get some use out of this Wet n Wild one. I talked about this in my recent favorites video. Love this pencil. It's such a good color, shape, and consistency. It's not too creamy, but it's not too stiff, but you also have that more precise point if you want to get a little bit more precision. I also grabbed this Marc Jacobs brow pencil. This is in the color medium brown. This one is a little bit darker, but this is a really stiff formula, so I actually like that it's a little bit darker because I can really draw like some precise hairs if I want to do that. I also grabbed this thing. This is the e.l.f. Brow Wax Pencil. I never can remember the name of this thing. You would think the number of times I've linked this in the description box and had to look this up, I would remember. Basically just a solid kind of wax pencil, a clear wax. I love this stuff in my brows. I know some of you have mentioned that you've tried it and it didn't work for you. It's not really a firm holding type of product. This basically just gives my brows some texture and a little bit of like fluff to them. Like once I put this in and then kind of brush it through, I love how this makes my brows look. So I think that's pretty much it other than lip products. So let's move into the lip products that I've selected. So I only picked one lip liner. This is Oh Snap from ColourPop. I've been using this a lot. I find that it goes with just about anything because it's basically the color of my lips. So I love using this with pretty much any nude to medium nude lipstick, or even just that underneath a gloss is amazing. For regular lipsticks, I pulled in these 3 shades right here. These are all pretty much nudes. This one is Jubilee from MAC. This is a luster. So this is kind of a shimmery, peachy beige, but it's very, very light in tone. It almost looks like a gloss on the lips. I love this lipstick. It's just a really good basic nude lipstick. Also pulled in this one. This one is from Rimmel. This is the Kate Nudes line in the color number 45. This is a beautiful nude lipstick. It has more of like a pink undertone to it, but it does have a little bit of peach, a little bit of warmth to it. So pretty on the lips. This is the perfect tone for a very nude lip that's not gonna wash you out. It actually reminds me quite a bit of Blankety by MAC, which is one of my favorite nude lipsticks. And then last I pulled in this one. This one is from Milani. This is in the color Teddy Bear. This is a great brown toned kind of medium nude. This is the one I was wearing in the intro of this video. Love this color, and I love this especially with something a little bit more brightening or light put in the center of the lips after I use this. I love that look. I think it's perfect for fall. And then for a gloss, I just pulled in Creme Brulee by NYX. So for darker lips, I pulled in this right here. I don't think they make these anymore. I think I got this at Marshall's. This is one of the Bite lip crayon pencils. This is in the color Gramble. Just a really pretty kind of wine color for fall. And I love the Bite Beauty formula. For liquid lipstick, I pulled this one in. I was wearing this recently. Oh geez, what video? I want to say I was wearing it in my 7 looks video for the Persona palette. I had a lot of people asking me about this one. This is Petal Pusher from Hank & Henry. This formula of a liquid lipstick is perhaps the best liquid lipstick formula I personally have ever tried. The Persona Cosmetics one is the most similar to this one, but this just looks so, even though it's a liquid lipstick and it does kind of set down, it never feels dry or uncomfortable, and it has almost a smoothing effect. Most liquid lipstick formulas don't work for me, but this is one of the few that actually does. All right, and that, my friends, is it. All right, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys have tried out any of these products that I picked out. If you have any thoughts on them, good or bad. I always love hearing your feedback in the comments below. I would also love to know how many of you guys change your makeup seasonally and what you are looking to kind of start using as the seasons start to turn in the next month or two. So leave all of that feedback down below in the comments. And that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys again for stopping by. I hope that you have a great day, and I will see all of you guys very soon in my next video. Bye. Hope that you guys have a great day wherever it is that you are. Wherever it is that you are. Too many words to say such a simple thing. Every time someone talks about that ColourPop Lunar Has It blush, I get Rumor Has It from Adele in my head. Now there's some songs that once they land in your head, they get stuck there for a very long time. That is one of those songs.